something like a time cap so that I can just be very concise and stay within the range of that time.
All right. Thank you very much. Stabasir, so you are an indigene of Unsuka in Enugu State. I know for a lot of people might not know Unsuka other than probably for UNN.
Exactly.
University of Nigeria, Unsuka. So now, what's the experience like being an Igbo and being a Muslim, and the way the issue of these threats against Igbo Muslims? So what's your own perspective when we talk about religious tolerance in Nigeria today?
Okay, thank you for this question. Talking about religious tolerance and national unity in Nigeria, we can say that the recent threats, arson and the displacement of Igbo Muslims are a painful reminder that our national unity is still fragile. When citizens are targeted because of both their ethnicity and their religion, it shows that too many of us still see difference as a reason for division instead of a strength to protect. Yes, because Nigeria is a diverse nation, right?
Yes.
And that diversity should be our pride. But incidents like these, like all this discrimination towards the Igbo Muslims and all that, it reveals gaps in religious tolerance and in protection of minority communities. A country cannot truly call itself united. Yes. I can see that national unity is not just a slogan. It's not just a slogan. It must be backed by justice, equal protection, and courage to stand up for one another. When any group is, threatened and the response is slow or even silent, it weakens trust in the idea that we are one nation under the same law. The marginalization, the humiliations that the Muslims in the eastern parts of Nigeria are facing is no more a rumor to anybody. We want a stronger Nigeria. We must reject violence, defend the rights of every citizen, and choose understanding over hatred. Our differences should never be a reason to burn homes or chase people away.
State of affairs that is being experienced by Igbo Muslims in the East. Sorry about that. Now, you are among the first to raise the alarm publicly after a voice note was allegedly circulated across WhatsApp in parts of the southeast calling for violence against Igbo Muslims. What exactly did you receive that compelled you to speak out, and what was your immediate concern for those at risk?
Sister Basira, that question is actually meant for you.
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Talking about the voice note I received and coming out to call on the security agencies, when I received that voice note, what alarmed me most was that it didn't sound like a harmless rumor or angry opinion. It was a direct call for violence against a specific group of people, which are the Igbo Muslims. The message was emotional. It was divisive and framed innocent citizens as targets. Knowing how quickly information spreads on WhatsApp, I understood that this could move from words to real life attacks.
Yes.
You never can tell, in a very short time. So my immediate concern was for ordinary families, women, children, traders, and even students.
Yes.
Right? So people who have done nothing wrong but could suddenly become victims because of their faith. Many of them live peacefully with neighbors. The Igbo Muslims, they live peacefully among their neighbors. They don't look for trouble. They don't. It has never been in any record that one crime or the other was committed by any person who is practicing Islam in the East.
No.
Right? So I I also worried about panic and displacement. Even before any violence happens, such threats can force people to flee their homes, shut down businesses, and even lose their sense of safety. That kind of fear that communities long after the message stops circulating.
Certainly.
That's why I felt it was important to cry out, speak out quickly, not to spread fear. Absolutely, not to spread fear, not to, but to raise awareness. I did that just to raise awareness for the public to know that the lives of the Igbo Muslims are in danger. So it cannot just come out and order for the execution of Igbo Muslims, people who have done nothing, who have imposed no threats to the peace of the society in East, right?
And indeed, when it is said that when a person loses their voice, you lose it all. So I can relate with the fact that it was important to create that awareness. May Allah continue to protect us all. Now, when you took this matter to the public space, what kind of responses did you encounter? Did you gain solidarity? Was it hostility? Were some people in denial? Or was it complete silence? And what do those reactions actually reveal about the moral state of our society? Sister Basira.
Okay, when I spoke out, the reactions were actually mixed.
Okay.
Many people showed solidarity, speaking up for peace and protection of lives.
Yes.
And the other hand, a lot of people tried to, divert people's attention, tried to make it look like it was fake, like we cried out in vain, like it was more like
attention seeking.
Yes, exactly. So, speaking up for the peace and protection of innocent lives, that also reminded me that compassion and humanity are still strong in our society, because a lot of people actually showed concern. But there was also hostility and denial. Some tried to dismiss the threat, while others responded with anger or division. Oh, come on, where did he get that information? You are just trying to bring false information. You are trying to cause violence in Igbo land, and all that. And what stood out as well was that silence from other people. I was kind of surprised. You understand? Silence in the moments like this can be dangerous.
Yes.
Because it allows injustice to grow.
Absolutely.
All right.
So I was encouraged that the DSS reached out to me immediately to ensure my safety, and which showed that some institutions took the matter seriously.
Yes, and indeed some institutions still work.
Yes, overall, these reactions reveal that Nigeria is at a moral crossroads, with many people standing for peace, but still struggling against, division and indifferences. Yeah.
Yes. Allah assist us.
All right. Thank you very much, Jazakallah khairan, for the way you have provided such answers.
Yes.
Now, let me come to you, Malam Bashir. I'm looking at this. There's often this picture that is painted that people equate religion with a particular ethnicity in Nigeria. Let me give an example. When they say Islam, people believe, that's northern Nigeria. And the northerners, the Hausas, the Fulanis, they are the Muslims. Not trying to look at, we also have non-Muslims among them or whatsoever. And when it comes to, for example, the Southeast, and they say, they are Christians. Or the South, they are Christians. Southwest, a mixture of Muslim Christians like that. So now the question is, how dangerous is this narrative that equates Islam with a particular ethnicity, and what risk does this pose to national cohesion, security, and peaceful coexistence?
This question is directed to both.
Okay, both of them, because they've had this experience, because they're talking about people equating Islam that, when you say Islam, probably it has to be probably Hausa people, and that they call it Hausa church, a mosque Hausa church, Islam Hausa religion, and things like so. This idea of equating Islam with a particular ethnicity. So what does this really, what risk does this pose to cohesion and security and even peaceful coexistence in Nigeria?
All right. Thank you very much for that. I think first things first, The first thing here is that it really tells a lot about our education, not just the one we have within the walls of the classroom to say. Now, Islam and Christianity have been here for centuries.
Yeah.
All right, for centuries.
Indeed.
And yeah, you are right. For someone who is from the north, I mean, so an average person would say, okay, this is like they are Muslims. I made a post, I think a week ago. It was even in a primary school textbook. So the text says that Usman Dan Fodio brought Islam to Nigeria through the north.
Subhanallah.
So now that is so you as so that's why I mentioned even education for a start. A child is in maybe primary 2, primary 3, I don't know what they use now, but I'm only familiar with that. That's what we use. You know. Is told that Usman Dan Fodio brought Islam to Nigeria through the north. And from there he spread it to the southeast, to the southwest, and to everywhere in Nigeria.
That's fallacious.
And of course, I mean, these are educators. These are people teaching children. So before we even start addressing these matters, you know, from the top, we need to look even down from the root itself. So what kind of mentality are we giving to that child? Okay, fine. And then we know, I will tell you, which many of us know, that Islam had been in Nigeria, in the southwest Nigeria, for example, at least 200 to 300 years, even before Uthman Dan Fodio was born. Now, what are the dangers? What are the risks of education? Now, if someone says you are an Hausa person or you are a Fulani person, automatically you are a Muslim. Or you are from the southeast, automatically you are a Christian. Now, what does it connote? Now, Sister Basira would agree with me and any other Igbo Muslim that's listening. Now, one of those things would be that you are a traitor. And we know how heavy the word, being a traitor, being a betrayer, can connote. We take, for example, when you look at some parts of the southwest Nigeria, I mean, Islam and Christianity are kind of dominant, but we still have those people involved in traditional, you know, cultural practices.
Yes.
They will still give you an hint that, well, you guys, you have followed the way of the Europeans.
Yes.
You are practicing foreign religion. So they even make you feel like you are less of a Yoruba man.
Yes.
Now, when you are now in a place like in the southeast that have seen Christianity as their heritage, and Islam has been there even for years itself. So the connotation here is that as long as you are an Igbo Muslim, you are less of an Igbo person. And what does that tell you? In governance, it becomes practically just about impossible for you to lead. To be a governor now, because you are a Muslim, it's almost impossible. When you are going to this for the children to use the hijab in schools become a problem. Even in southwest Nigeria, where we even assume tends to be quite more tolerant.
Yes.
We still have that problem. Now, when you now have in a place like the southeast, where it is saying that once you are a Muslim, you don't belong here. You are not from us. No, you are a traitor. You are less of an Igbo person. How about the children? It does not affect only the adults. It even affects the children as well. When you are there, you are a Muslim. Imagine you have, let's say, maybe a classroom of maybe like 20 students, and then you have one child whose name is Ikechukwu, and he is the only Muslim, and then he's bearing Ikechukwu Usman. Or maybe his name is Hassan or Muhammad Ikechukwu, and then his surname. Imagine the level of bullying such child is going to what? To encounter. So I mean, we could really go in and delve into this topic a whole lot. But I'm just trying to look at this matter from the root itself. So the problem itself is systemic. And one of the consequences would be that at the end of the day, when it comes to national unity, there will be no national unity. What we are going to do is we are going to be divided on this line, religion. And who does it profit? Of course, the politicians as well. And that is why I have always really wanted to push for an intellectual reformation of the average Nigerian. If the average Nigerian is intellectual, he knows that, for example, I'm a Yoruba man, I don't need to worship Ogun, for example. I don't need to worship Shango to be a Yoruba man. I mean, okay, fine, I can wear the Ankara, I can eat the Amala and the Wedu, I can promote the Yoruba culture without the religious practices of Yoruba people as well. Not at all.
No.
You can be an Igbo person and you can have the freedom of your own faith. It's just like being a Jew.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You know, you also need to manage time very quickly. But let me just quickly emphasize here. Thank you. I love the way you have, portrayed that the dangers of trying to equate, Islam with one particular religion. But concerning this issue of, Igbo incitement against Igbo Muslims, let me quickly say that MPAC actually played a critical role in this. In fact, MPAC as an organization wrote to the DSS, Nigerian Police Force, and the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, and as an organization, we got responses from them that they were seriously investigating these matters and that they would ensure the safety of Igbo Muslims. How far that has now been implemented is another question entirely. And I would like Hajja Basira to now come in. Being an Igbo person and a Muslim, this way people now equate Islam with the ethnicity, especially, for example, like Malam Bashir has said now, equating it with probably with the North and Hausas or Fulanis. How does that, for example, you being an Igbo Muslim, how does that portrayal affect you?
And as a Muslim,
especially as a Muslim, yeah, a female,
yes.
In the Southeast.
Okay. Thank you for the question. When people say that Islam is an Hausa man's religion, I just laugh. I just laugh over it because, the idea that Islam belongs to one particular ethnicity is both false and dangerous at the same time. Because Islam is a global faith.
Indeed.
And it can be practiced by people from many ethnic groups. And, coming to just linking it to just one tribe turns religion into a tool of division. This narrative weakens it weakens the national unity by making citizens see each other as suspects and share hate and you see your neighbor as a threat to you. You see your relative who doesn't, practice same faith with you as a threat. Like, come on, you follow these people to bow down to what we don't know. That makes you automatically an Hausa person. During my undergraduate days, I really faced serious bullies from my fellow students then, because whenever they see me on hijab, they say, "Ha, Hausa, what's this doing on your head? And this is Igbo land, you cannot practice this here, this is not Hausa." And I used to ask them, okay, if someone wearing hijab automatically becomes an Hausa woman, then a Christian should, an Igbo Christian should also automatically be identified as a woman. Yes, because the religion, Islam, does not belong to the North.
Indeed.
It is a global religion.
Indeed.
No matter where you're coming from, no matter your ethnicity, you are permitted to practice it without,
without fear. Yes.
Identifying it as like, this is my religion and it belongs to only me and me alone. I call it more like colonization of religion. I'm sorry if I may use that word, because even Christians, that religion was introduced to them by the foreigners. And even if you go there are still Muslims in that country or in those countries that brought the religion to Africa.
Yes, and really tolerance is the watchword.
Honestly, this narrative weakens national unity by making citizens, not welcoming to one another.
Thank you so much.
It also creates security risk because local issues can quickly take one ethnic and religious dimensions, increasing the chance of conflict. Most of it all, it's harmful because peaceful coexistence will no longer be tolerated.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much. We are actually pressed for time, and because of the importance and sensitivity of this topic, I mean, we could go on and on and on. But thank you so much for your contribution. I'm glad that we're able to speak up about it. Now, Mr. Bashir Lucas, in 2024, the Aisha Obidawa Orphanage Foundation in Imo State is a humanitarian center caring for orphans and widows, and was subjected to repeated threats, forced relocations, arson, attacks, and alleged assassination attempts against its founder, Haja Aisha Obi, an Igbo Muslim woman, targeted not for any crime, but simply because she's Muslim. Now, the foundation's facilities were eventually burnt down, displacing the vulnerable children and caregivers, while the broader public response remained largely muted. In the case of Aisha Obidawa Foundation, what stands out most to you? The persecution itself, or the silence that often follows such attacks? And what message does the destruction of an orphanage, a place of refuge for vulnerable children and widows, send about the moral compass of our society? I want you to just, speak about this in few seconds.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. You see, I think the silence that follows stood out for me than the persecution itself. Now, you know why? That's because the persecution itself only has to do with Aisha Obi as at that time, right?
Yes.
But the silence that follows stood out more because Aisha Obi spoke out, right? How about who have been affected, who have been victimized and oppressed that we do not know anything about?
Yeah.
Now, that was not the first time Aisha would be targeted. In 2020, we took her away from the southeast and brought her to the southwest. As a matter of fact, they intended to assassinate her, and alhamdulillah, we were able to, prevent her from that.
No.
So now, and then the body of an orphanage. What does it actually say about our moral compass? Like I would say, so when it comes to hate, so there is no reason when it comes to hate. Now, the same thing that killed Deborah Samuel is the same thing that would have killed or that would have, affected either Aisha Obi or the orphanage. It is just hate. And these are people who do not necessarily reflect the religion that they preach. It is just about them. And that was the message that we preach. If the murderers of Deborah Samuel in the north, if they reflect Islam, those who went ahead gone down to
Madam Bashir, please hold on your thought. We have a caller on the line. Hello, who is that?
Is someone talking?
Yes, please. We have a caller. Please kindly pause the thought.
Yeah. Hello. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
It's good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. You're welcome. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. This is Ike from Oshodi.
Okay.
Welcome on the show.
Yes.
Please express your thoughts quickly. Thank you.
Yeah. So I am an Igbo man, and I want to say that I grew up in Imo State.
Okay.
So and I want to say that I went to school in Imo State.
Okay.
And there were Muslims there. They worshipped my cousins. Some of them were Muslims from the north.
Okay.
And they didn't experience any backlash. I didn't see them being persecuted because I was surprised. I'm just my first time hearing about this about that view
Okay.
on Muslims.
Okay.
So I'm surprised. I want to get to a framework because we are friends in North. We prayed both together. We prayed both together. This time we went to different schools. People and everything was okay. Muslims were worshiping. And even some men were putting on their hijab. And nothing happened. Everything was okay. So I don't understand the meaning of Muslim tradition.
I would like to respond to the point.
All right. Okay. Malam Bashir, Lucas, I would like you to respond based on what our caller said. That so you can quickly respond to that.
Mr. Iko, if I'm right. You see, your statement now, which is a woman's experience, is the same reason why the plight of Igbo Muslims have been silenced. So, well, I will ask you and anyone listening. Not long ago, we heard about, the idea of a Christian genocide, right? A Christian genocide. It is not even it was not a local government chairman, right? It was even the president of the United States who should be more informed. Now, given that one, now if you ask an average Christian now about the situation of Christians in the north, they will tell you, oh, they are not tolerant, they are all this and all that. Do you know how many churches are there in the northern region? Now, an average Christian would agree that, oh, maybe some of them are intolerant, all this and all that. If these northern people are that intolerant and they attack Christians every day, how many churches would have been burned down? Would there be any Christian? Now, if I were not to apply that logic, a northerner will say there are lots of churches in the northern region. There are lots of Christians, and many of them are alive. So, if for the fact that a Christian had experienced relative peace for his 10-20 years in the north, his church has stood, and he has not seen a Christian that was killed in his case. Now, if we are to apply your own logic in that instance now, we will say that according to you, you will agree with me that there is no single persecution of any Christian in the north.
Thank you so much.
We know quite well that there are issues, because I know of even mosques that have been burnt in Afikpo, there are mosques that have been burnt even in Abia State, especially when the issue of this Biafra agitation and whatsoever. So we know that all of this happen. Because
that's why it's really important that this is being spoken about.
Yes.
Because if the caller is saying he even schooled there and all of that, and these are people bringing live experiences. Now this is not hearsay, so that's why it's really good, so that we don't just look at our privileges that, okay, well, people around me didn't experience it and so it's not happening. So it's really important to listen and to find out and to pull our way to ensure that we are good neighbors as well and people are safe around us.
And let's just say this, the interest here is for people to know that these things happen. That we don't hear them does not mean they don't happen, and we are not encouraging it. What we are trying to do is sensitize people so that in any way we can also contribute to removing some of these fears and trying to address these challenges faced by Igbo Muslims. What we are trying to say is religion has no ethnicity. So that you're an adherent of a particular faith, you should be allowed to practice your faith regardless of your ethnicity. So we should not monopolize, no ethnicity should monopolize a particular religion and see other people of that same ethnicity trying to profess other faiths as traitors. That's just what we're saying.
Most importantly, that tolerance should be the watchword regardless of faith and ethnicity.
Since we've received the call, you can be a part of this discourse by calling the number 07000 917 917 07000 917 917. You can also send a message via SMS or WhatsApp. The number 081 55 917 917 081 55 917 917. We already have a message from one of our regular listeners, Madam Bola, who says, good morning. Thank you for this.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good morning. We have another caller on the line.
Walaikum salam.
Yes, you are on. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I want to chip in this point.
Okay.
I think the press, Nigerian press, media, they have a lot to do. This one we are doing is a very good sensitization, for everyone. There are things that are missing in the information being disseminated to people. People know the real fact that it is not genocide. But when it is, when the people that are supposed to make clarity, like the people in the media, doing their news headlines in the morning, they did some translations, but they did use some languages like Islamic distance. They should remove all those words so that people can know that It's not genocide society. So I love this sensitization. You should continue. You should be in all next week again, so that people know that the truth. So
thank you so much. Thank you. We know quite well that, in fact, there are still some other questions we need to ask, but then we know quite well that looking at what we have, the time left, we might not be able to. Let's quickly take this message from, like I said, one of our regular listeners, Madam Bola, who says, good morning, thank you for this important topic. It is long overdue. I really don't know how we got here. The hatred speeches on the pulpit is alarming. The other day I was listening to a radio program and a Christian Igbo man was saying the life of one Igbo Christian is more important than the lives of all Muslims. How inhumane! The consequences we're getting from all this are the insecurity in the country, incompetence in governance, and infiltration from outsiders that does not have our interests at heart. I will appeal to our religious leaders to use the pulpit appropriately. We will overcome, inshallah. Madam Bola, thank you very much for that message. So you can also send your message via SMS or WhatsApp to 08155917907. Walaikum salam wa barakatuh. We have another caller on the line. Please, let's have your name and where you're coming from.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Mahmoud and I'm calling from Akoti.
Alright, you're welcome, sir.
Express your thought quickly.
I want to appreciate our sister. I want to appreciate our sister for speaking out. I really, I give her kudos for the courage. And also, I want to say that when we feel like this time, we have to be united, even though we are doing, but we need to put more, to do more now.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
So much. We lost that.
We lost him, but at least we got the message.
Yes.
All right. Very quickly, Malam Bashir, although you're trying to talk about what Hajia Aisha Obi, suffered. In fact, this is someone that has really tried. I was reading her story and I, felt a lot of pity for her. She had to move constantly from one place to another, because of different attacks and threats that she faced. You even talked about the threat of assassination just because someone professes Islam. And this is someone that is, born and bred in Igbo land, an Igbo personality herself. But then, they call her a traitor and other things like that. Now, because just like even from the call we received, Malam Bashir, some attempt to dismiss this incident as isolated and inconsequential. So while others see in them the unmistakable imprint of a coordinated and dangerous pattern. So in the face of the fact, so where do we actually stand here now? And what truth must Nigerians confront with regards to the incitement and the hatred and the threats against Igbo Muslims?
Madam Bashir, please can you express your thoughts on that in a few seconds, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. You see, before I I'm going to be very brief. You see, it is not even just about the Igbos now. It reflects where we Muslims need to do better. Everything that concerns Muslims and Islam has always been ignored. I will just give you the quick example. Look at this idea of a Christian genocide, for example. Kidnapping, banditry, it happens most in the west, in the north. If maybe Boko Haram or Islam or anyone, if they go to a central market and then they bomb, let's say like 20 people, odds are that 50 Muslims will be victims. And then what do we get? We get Christian genocide. Muslims are affected, Muslims are killed, and we are also the one who is being made to do what? To pull up defenses, to explain. And it is that same thing that is also being explained to the situation of the Igbo Muslims as well. Gaslighted, we are being silenced, and why? It is because we have the resources. So I'm not going to blame anyone for that. I would say we should claim responsibility. The Muslim community itself should claim responsibility. We need to invest a lot in the media. So something like this we are doing, we need to push out that narrative. We can't expect them, if they put their money in the media, if they put their money in music or whatever.
It is the team.
Is that important?
Yes, he was saying that, he who plays the piper dictates the tune. So if we can invest in
the media
as
so
well.
we cannot so we cannot expect them to push out that narrative for us. But we need to be out there. We need to make these things out there in the open. So I am going to hold the Muslim community in Nigeria responsible for whatever is happening. But I'm saying the situation or the condition of Igbo Muslims victimization being silent is the macrocosm of the grand picture, which is Islam in Nigeria as a whole. Whatever affects Islam and Muslims is still always been ignored, downplayed, and does not get enough coverage.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bashir. It's really important that these things are being discussed. Unfortunately, we are so pressed for time.
Here's what we're going to do. Madam Bashir and Hajj Basir, I would impress it on Impact that we'll have a part 2 of this discussion.
Yes.
We just have to continue because there are still so many areas that we really need to touch, but we are pressed for time.
Yes, but before we close, and this is for both Mr. Bashir Lucas and Hajj Basir Abdullah, the question now is, how can religious leaders, both Christian and Muslims, rise beyond denominational boundaries to jointly confront incitement, hate speech, and religious profiling? Because obviously this is doing us no good. Religious profiling and hate speech beyond even the Igbo Muslims and the incitement they're facing is a dangerous dynamic to any national fabric. So how can religious leaders, both Christian and Muslims, rise beyond these denominational boundaries?
And what practical steps? So, just as we close, because I just want us 1 minute, roundup from both of you. So, what practical steps beyond your statement should we, make, or what practical steps should we take, to address this matter, especially to protect the Igbo Muslims and all religious minorities, in Nigeria? Very quickly. First, start from Hajj Basir.
Yes, let's start from Hajj.
Okay, thank you. Religious leaders, whether Christian or Muslim, have a unique responsibility to rise above denominational lines. They can jointly condemn incitement, hate speech, and religious profiling, showing their communities that, faith is not a tool for division, but a strong foundation for peace. By speaking with one voice, promoting dialogue, and even modeling respect for all citizens, they can bridge gaps between communities, reduce mistrust, and counter narratives that, say that neighbor against neighbor. True leadership in faith is not just about guiding believers in worship, but also is about defending the vulnerable and upholding the moral values that protect society as a whole. I think this is all I have to say.
Thank you so much. That was so concise.
Now, Malam Bashir, your closing statement on what we need to do, religious leaders and members of the community, the government, and everyone to protect the Muslims and religious minorities.
Nigeria religious leaders really have anything to offer in that sense. In the sense that we are really divided on this line. And at the end of the day, when you say that this kind of hypocrisy, for example, in that sense, if it is beneficial, like lots of that, we went around studying this area of Christian parents, they are Christians, it pays them, it's profitable, and it's probably you can take sense to someone who is making profit out of a vice. So the question I will say is for Muslim leaders, religious leaders, Muslim stakeholders to be aware of the situation of Igbo Muslims and apply the law. The law of Nigeria, the Constitution of Nigeria protects the right of Igbo Muslims to exist. Muslim lawyers, Muslim media outlets, Muslim wealthy people, Muslim religious leaders, they use their business to see to the condition of Igbo Muslims. But that religious leaders should do something with a business in some sense. So, start this, I'm telling you, in 10 years, we will wasting our time talking to the religious leaders.
Okay.
Thank you
very much. Because of time, we will have to, draw the curtains of the program here. We'd like to appreciate Madam Bashir Lucas, Samson Lukman, and Sister Basira Gochiko Abdullah for the insight that you have shared on this program and for the awareness that you have also raised. We thank you very much for what you have done. And inshallah, like I said, we must have a part 2 of this discussion. But then, for today, would like to thank you. And to all our callers and to those who sent in messages, Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to protect us all, and especially for the Muslims, the Igbo Muslims who are actually facing one persecution or the other, and to other religious minorities, whether in the north or in the south, in the east or in the west. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us peace and security in Nigeria. All right.
Use this opportunity to also call for religious tolerance on all fours. And I continue to preserve us all in goodness.
Allahumma ameen. All right, so you can listen again to this episode or other previous episodes of Everyday Muslim on impact-ng.org. Scroll down and click on Impact Project to view Everyday Muslim past uploaded episode. Follow Everyday Muslim on social media: Facebook Everyday Muslim, Instagram Everyday Muslim 01. Inshallah, the program will make its way back to your airwaves same time, 11 a.m. same station, WFM 91.7 FM. I remain Abdul Hakim Qasim, and with me today have been
Latifa Oluwakemi Sadiq.
Thank you for joining us. All right, inshallah. So, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.